Hey everybody, what's going on? This is KDK Kyodaiken, and in today's video we are going to take a look at another Retropie image. Now this one is not mine, it comes from another user in the community. He goes by the name Scott Mercer, and the name of this image is Schmoomers Fresh Pie. I believe I'm pronouncing it right, Schmoomers Fresh Pie. It is a 128GB Pi 4 overclocked retro gaming image. This is using the Retropie official base, and I typically don't do a lot of reviews on the Retropie official base, but one of the cool things that I really loved about this particular image and really caught my attention was the priority to associate games and ROMs, factoring in the amount of space that he has available. So let's go ahead and get into this review, and we'll take a look at the Schmoomers Fresh Pie Retropie image. I do believe this is his first Retropie image. He has 729 games for arcade, but all games total there's a whopping 2,400. So that's quite a few games on here for a Retropie image for on the Pi 4. 2,400 games in total. You also have some collections over here. We're not going to take a look at those right now. You have 41 Atari 2600 games. You have 31 Dreamcast, 40 games available for Game Gear. 63 for Game Boy, 250 games for Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color 106, Sega Master System 72, Sega Genesis 179, N64 5, Neo Geo, he has 93, NES 210, MS-DOS 2, TurboGrafx 16, 94, PSPS 38, 56 games available for PlayStation, and of course you got your options, and then of course you got 391 games for your Super Nintendo. And then, of course, you have a list of collections here. So if you guys watched my Rick Dangerous review, one of the things that I had a problem with in that image was that it was, what was it, 300, supposed to be 300 megs, or I'm sorry, 300 gigabytes, whatever the file size was. But the problem I had was it was heavily loaded down with one particular ROM set in mind, with Dreamcast. And you know, there's nothing really wrong with that, you know, whatever floats somebody's boat, but the file size, because he went with particular ROMs, obviously causes you, the downloader, to have to buy a memory card. Now of course somebody could say, well, if it's too big for you, don't buy it, or you know, don't buy a memory card, or leave the download alone. But those are just some things to keep in mind when one file size or one ROM is bigger in some cases than the entire ROM set for N64. I'm sorry, bigger than the entire ROM set for NES or even Super Nintendo. And so as you see here, this is a perfect way to manage your file and appropriate your file spacing in your ROM space for your Retropie image with the limited number of megabytes and gigabytes you do have available. So as you see here, again, you have 729 arcade games. That doesn't really take up a lot unless you have CHD games. But he has a nice little combination of systems that he put together, and he made a very wise choice in the allocation of his space. We'll take a look here at the options. It has audio, bezel, Bluetooth. He has all the basic settings here, nothing that you guys will see loaded from some of the other images that I've taken a look at. Let's take a look really quick at TurboGrafx 16. All of this stuff here is pretty nice and scraped out, so I don't know if he's using an existing ROM set from someone else or if he made this himself, but you know, it is there. But the other cool thing that I did notice is this particular image has video loading screen. So I believe he loaded this himself, and to my knowledge, the Retropie official base does not have video loading screen. So this is something that he even took a step further and added himself. For those of you guys who really don't know, a lot of image makers, they just copy and paste ROMs over, and they take the existing build with whatever is there. And if you're not really familiar with the image or the base, you're thinking somebody could be doing a lot of work other than just transferring ROMs over. So that extra little touch shows you the additional distance that he is going here to create something for you guys. So I'll back out. I just wanted to show you guys that really quickly, that there are video loading screens here, which is very, very rare with other images outside of Supreme. In fact, I don't even think some of V-Man's images, who you guys are familiar with, have video loading screens. I think he uses a set PNG file. So yeah, he's definitely taking his game here to another level. As far as the ROM says, obviously there's not a lot of space he is really working with. That some of these ROMs, as far as PlayStation and N64, are pretty big. And then, of course, I believe the base for the RetroPie official base is somewhere around, I think it's either somewhere between 8 to 16 gigabytes, if I can recall. So we're going to take a look at some of the other games here that he does have loaded. In fact, let me go ahead and back out. And I'll go ahead and I usually like to look at arcade sets, because building a RetroPie image, the arcade set is one of the most tedious things to do, very time consuming. With NES, Atari, and a lot of the other systems on here, you can just pretty much move a bunch of the games over and they will pretty much play, because there is a standard defaulted emulator, and any one of them will run a lot of those games automatically. No troubleshooting, no effort whatsoever. But arcade is really where you get down to the nitty gritty, and you can find out if somebody really knows their stuff. This is typically where you find if ROMs won't load. I see here that he only has one version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Usually, obviously, I mean, you can see here that there are 2 additional versions for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. Obviously, this is probably the 2-player version, and then you have the 4-player version. But the 4-player version, this is either the 2-player or 4-player version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know a lot of people like to see both. So, in fact, let me go ahead and click on it and see which version here. And that's a very nice video loading screen there. Very nice and classy. All right, so he is using the Oceania ROM for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this is the 2-player ROM. This is the bootleg version that was made in Oceania, Japan. The standard 4-player version is typically what is standard, which you'll find in most ROM sets or arcades. So yeah, it's kind of strange you didn't add that one there. So, but you got 2 different versions here of Turtles in Time. Let's take a look at another game that's kind of hard to run or emulate, and that would be Spider-Man. I want to see if that's on here. And I do not see. Okay, here we go. Spider-Man the video game. Let's see if it's running like it should. We'll take a look at that. This ROM could be a little tricky to run, because if you don't associate it properly, sometimes it'll run and then you have a bad sound effect where the sound is really laggy. Instead of it saying like Spider-Man, it'll say Spider-Man. So ROM association with the emulator is very key. All right, perfect. It is running just as it should. So there's really no need for me to go any further than that. Yeah, so it's running pretty smooth and fluid. So we'll back out of that. And there is something else I typically like to see. And again, a lot of this is on my own personal opinions, but this is something that I look for when I go through a ROM set, is to see all of the harder to run games. Are they on here? I also noticed that he has X-Men on here as well. However, there is no X-Men 4-player or 6-player. That would have been nice if you could have added that, you know, because that way you, the user, you have additional choice as far as what you can use if you have an arcade machine or if you have company over. That's not one of the ROMs that you can change from 2-player to 4-player and that nature. Let's take another look here. I want to see Captain America. Captain America and the Avengers. Okay, that's on there as well. Let's take a look at Aliens versus Predator. There's something else I want to see. I don't think a lot of people do this, so I want to see if he turned on the 3-player functionality or the 3-function player for Aliens versus Predator. That's something I personally do, because if you have company over, friends, whatever the case might be, this is a 3-player game. So usually when I make an image, I make it 3 players by default. so that way it's already there. So let's take a look. All right, so right now this is only set up for 2 players. So okay, I just wanted to see if he went the additional step to add to turn on the additional player for this particular ROM. So we'll go ahead and back out. And okay, let's see if he added. Let's see. I don't see any CHD based games. So that's one of the huge benefit of the Pi 4 is being able to run CHD games by using MAME 2016. CHD games would be games like Maximum Force or Area 51 or Mace. So typically something like this could look like a Pi 3 image or a Pi 3 ROM set. There's really nothing here that I'm looking at that says, as far as the ROM set says, hey, this is why you need to have a Pi 4, or this arcade ROM set is taking advantage of what the Pi can fully do. So I don't see any of those CHD based games. Let's take a look here. And we're looking for Mace. I don't see Mace. Okay. Okay. So this looks like a standard ROM set that you would find on a lot of Pi images. But all in all, I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts and let you guys know what I thought about it. You know, he has a number of themes on here. So he has, let me go back. Let's see, where am I? So he has a number of themes on here for you guys to choose from. If you guys are looking for a simple RetroPie official base image, I would definitely recommend this one, based upon his file sizes and how he customized everything. It's really simple and just straight to the point. But yeah, so hopefully you guys will see more from him in the future to see exactly what type of work he can do, and just check it out. But other than that, looks like it's a pretty decent image or build based upon the official RetroPie base. And again, this is called the Schmoomers Fresh Pi. Oh, and one other thing is this image is overclocked right now. I believe it's overclocked to 2 gigahertz. I don't know the exact specifics of it, but I will leave all of that information in the description below. Leave a like, a comment, make sure you guys share this video. I just wanted to do a quick review, give you guys my thoughts about it, and let you guys know what I thought about it. So again, this is Keel Dyken. Catch you guys later. You guys have a good day.